Tercona Book 2, Dr. Q and the Banana Gun. Chapter 1. The north end of Bayville Heights was known as the high-end area, the part of town where you could find all the bigger, more expensive homes. Most of the doctors and lawyers of Bayville Heights lived in this area. There were nice outdoor malls. People drove nice cars and dressed in more conservative-looking clothes. Families that owned businesses usually lived here, too. Tercona and her two closest friends, Brian and Brittany, were walking through town. A few people stared at Tercona. Was she a cosplayer going to a convention? Some little kids passing them knew who Tercona was right away and pointed while the young one's parents turned their heads. Clearly, some people weren't used to a superhero in town yet. Brittany sighed. Why are we in this part of town again? Tercona answered her. Crime can happen anywhere, and Brian interrupted her. I think she's throwing a hissy fit because her cheerleading friend Samantha and her family own half this area. Brittany responded very stern. She's not my friend. Relax, I was just kidding. Tercona continued. Anyway, if this is part of the city that has the most money, I assume it'll be the biggest target. They all heard a woman scream, "My purse!" Brittany said sarcastically, "Oh, come on! Seriously? Right on cue?" Brittany and Brian watched as Tercona flew up into the air on her flying surfboard, going after the purse snatcher. Brittany said to Brian, "Why is she chasing after him? He's just a chubby guy in a cheap red costume." Brian responded, "Who stole that woman's purse?" The man in the red suit grinned as he yelled back, "The chase is on!" As the guy in the red suit ran as fast as he could, Brittany said to him, thick with sarcasm, "Really?" Watching the chase, Brittany said to Brian, "Doesn't this idiot know he won't get far? He's on foot. She's on a flying surfboard." When Brittany finally looked over at Brian, he didn't hear a single word she was saying. He was in a trance from watching Tercona in action. She rolled her eyes and grabbed his arm. "Oh, come on, fanboy. This won't last long." Within a few minutes, Tercona jumped off her board and landed on top of the guy in the red suit. He said with such excitement, "I've been caught!" When Brian and Brittany finally caught up to them, which didn't take very long since they were only a few blocks away, Brian expressed his excitement over the catch. "That's right, you bad guy. Tercona got you. You're going to jail. The big house, Both Tercona and Brittany stared at him, a look which clearly meant, "Stop talking." For a brief moment, the man in the red suit managed to wiggle away from Tercona's capture. He stood up, put his hands in his hips, and proclaimed, "For it is I, the Red Bandit! I am officially the first supervillain caught by the superhero Tercona!" Tercona stopped his rant by putting her hand over his mouth and continued to wrestle with the big guy, trying to get him back on the ground. Brittany didn't know superheroes like her friend Brian, who reads comic books all the time. But she did know that this guy in a silly red suit wasn't a supervillain. She couldn't help but laugh. "Are you kidding me?" Tercona finally knocked the Red Bandit down the ground once again. Brian pointed to them. "You're going down!" Brittany expressed her frustration to Brian by smacking him in the arm. "Stop encouraging him!" Then she turned and gave this guy a reality check. "Mr. Red Boo-Boo?" The Red Bandit was irritated by her remark. "It's Red Bandit. I'm the Red Bandit." Brittany didn't care. Whatever. Lame name anyway. Dude, you're not a supervillain. You stole an old woman's purse. There's nothing super about that. You're just a bad guy at most, and an annoying one at that." As Tercona lifted the red-caped villain off the ground, he turned and looked at Brittany. "I think you're just jealous. All Tercona has done in this town so far is save people from fires, car crashes, and stop a few robberies. I'll go down in history!" Brittany rolled her eyes and turned to Brian. "Is he related to you? Because that's something you would say." Brian gave her a hard glare. Brittany continued. "Anyway, speaking of history, I have to get home now. I have some history homework that's due tomorrow." "I already did mine," Brian proclaimed. "Let me guess. It was done before you left school?" Tercona stopped them from bickering. "Guys, hello? I have to take this bad guy to the authorities and then see if anybody else needs my help." Brittany couldn't help but throw out another slam. "Or you could just hand him back to his mom. She'll ground him for a week and take his action figures away." Then she turned to him and shook her finger at him. "You're such a bad little boy. Shame on you." The Red Bandit continued to express his excitement over being caught. "Laugh now. I'm gonna make history. You'll see." Brittany asked Tercona, "Is there any way you can shut him up?" "Gladly." Tercona made a long piece of duct tape and placed it over his mouth. Brittany smiled. "Thank you." Tercona looked at the criminal she caught and realized he wouldn't fit on her usual mode of transportation, her flying surfboard. So she made a Skyrunner, the same flying vessel that her mother Medea made when she was chasing Tercona and her family off of Batacor 3. Now Tercona had plenty of room and was able to travel with her prisoner. Brian's eyes just about popped out of his head when she constructed the Skyrunner. "What is that?" She told him, "It's called a Skyrunner. I knew my trusty flying surfboard wouldn't work, so Brian's curiosity piqued. Why don't you fly through the sky using that thing all the time? Do you see how big and complicated this thing is? It will disappear just as I get this guy to the police station." As Tercona put the red bandit in the side seat of the Skyrunner, he continued to mumble through his tape. Then she took off into the sky. Brian said sadly, "You know, now that I think about it, he was a lame villain." "You think?" Brittany said. "I would have thought a superhero comic book fanatic like you would have seen that a mile away." Brian confessed. "I was caught up in a moment. She looks so cute when she's fighting crime." Brittany rolled her eyes. "Come on, let's go."